Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. The Big 12 announcing Texas and Oklahoma have agreed in principle to leave the conference and move to the SEC 1 year sooner than expected. In exchange, the Big 12 will receive a combined $100 million from the schools. The deal still must be agreed upon by the universities' respective governing boards. Under the agreement, the schools would join the SEC in July of 2024 in time to participate in that year's football season. And for more, let's welcome in CBS Sports senior college football writer Dennis Dodd, also known as Big Game Dennis Dodd. And Dennis, this is big news here. What more can you tell us about the move here 1 year sooner than expected for Oklahoma and Texas?
Well, not totally unexpected, Hakeem. This had become rather rancorous, actually, since about late August, about a month into Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark's tenure, when Texas and Oklahoma informed him that they wanted out. The problem was that right at that point, Brett Yormark was negotiating a new TV deal, and he basically stiff-armed them and said, don't bother me with this now. We'll get to it in the future, but I need to get this deal done first. And that obviously was a big deal getting in ahead of the Pac-12. But Texas and Oklahoma pushed. Nobody could come to an agreement. As recently as last week, it looked like the deal was dead, although I was told, and I wrote, it wasn't totally dead because as long as there's a chance, there's a chance. And that happened Thursday night. Texas and Oklahoma will pay the Big 12 a combined $100 million. But that's only part of the deal, Hakeem. The second part of the deal is a separate deal with Texas and Oklahoma. With Fox, they will pay Fox an unknown amount of cash to get out of their deal. Remember, Fox had the last year as a partner with ESPN in 2024 with the Big 12, and on their air were Texas and Oklahoma games, which are very lucrative. So I can only assume that's in the multi-millions of dollars to get out of this. So that combined ends a lot of rancor between the Big 12, between Texas, between Oklahoma. SEC was really a bystander. I have to give them credit. They were not manipulating things. They certainly manipulated things to get them to the league, but not in this case. So we can now move on with a big 14-team league in the Big 12 in 2023. And then as I've just learned, the Big 12, now with this issue resolved, Hakeem, plans to aggressively pursue expansion. We know who the players are. We don't know what form it's going to take. But now with this off Brett Yormark's plate, the commissioner, he plans to aggressively pursue expansion. I think you can figure out it's going to be some Big 12 teams. We already know Gonzaga is in the mix if they can pry them loose from the West Coast Conference. But all guns now, and the Big 12 aimed at even getting bigger than 12 teams.
Yeah, because we know this upcoming season, they'll be going to 14 members, as you mentioned, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida joining the Big 12. As for the SEC, now going to 16 teams in the 2024 season with Oklahoma and Texas. How might that impact scheduling and the divisions in the SEC with the SEC East and West?
Well, that's TBA right now. They have not decided in the SEC to go without divisions. I think that's going to come in time for all conferences. But they haven't decided that yet in the SEC because it is such a lucrative championship game. The championship game isn't going away, but it's been around for 35 years or something like that. And only 3 true underdogs have ever come through and won that game. So in essence, the SEC already has the 2 best teams in that championship game. Do they want to upset the tradition and the rivalries of the West and the East, which are almost conferences and powers to themselves? That will be decided. All we know for sure in scheduling is that there's sort of a mandate now in the future with Texas and Oklahoma to all the teams in the league, all 16, to play each other home and away over a 4-year period. Now, that's a huge deal in the SEC, where with a 14-team league, you had teams not playing each other for 10 years. I don't know if George has even visited Texas A&M yet, the 2-time defending national champion. So it was scheduling quirks like that. So they've made an overt effort now for everybody to get more balance in scoring. How those schedules are going to be, divided. We now have whatever it is, the 5-2-1 model in the SEC, 5 teams from your division, 2 designated rivals, and then 1 other team from the other division. That hasn't been decided yet, but they're going to have to ramp up the timeline to figure that out.
Well, you're adding another rivalry to the SEC, right? The SEC is also known for all of the rivalries in its conference. Now you add the Red River rivalry with Texas and Oklahoma. And again, both schools set to join the SEC in 2024, 1 year sooner than expected. They get a deal done, and we will see Texas and Oklahoma in July of 2024. Ready for football that year. Dennis Dodd with the latest here on CBS Sports HQ. Dennis, thank you.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.